It's Surrey Business Affairs with Jackie Mitchell.
Hello there and welcome back to Surrey Business Affairs with me, Jackie Mitchell. I'm now joined in the studio by Rob May, who is Ambassador of Cybersecurity for Institute of Directors. Hello there, Rob.
Hi, Jackie.
Thanks for coming in today.
Oh, it's great to be here again.
Okay, perhaps you'd like to give us a bit about your background, about what you did before you set up Ramsack?
Okay, so Ramsack is a IT and cybersecurity consultancy. We're 60 consultants based in Surrey. I've been doing that for 27 years now, so a long time. Prior to that, I was in corporate. I went through a number of different software companies through IBM and the like, and got my training there before I decided to step out and create something that I wanted to deliver in the way that I thought IT should be delivered and consumed.
Right, okay. And of course, cybersecurity is one of the areas you are involved with.
Absolutely.
And you are now Ambassador of Cybersecurity of Institute of Directors. Is this a new role?
So, for the last 4 years, I was chairman of IOD in Surrey. So obviously you spoke to Richard a little while ago. So I was Richard's predecessor, and we set up a series of ambassadors. And the role that I took in Surrey initially was Ambassador for Cyber. And since stepping down as chairman in Surrey, I've extended the reach of my ambassadorship, and I do a lot of speaking worldwide, in fact, and training on cyber and what it means to business people, and business people at all levels. You know, from the one-man band. Cyber isn't just an issue that affects British Airways, although of course British Airways have very recently been very much in the press.
Indeed, yes.
But it affects everybody.
Right. And so as Ambassador of Cybersecurity for the Institute of Directors, what does that role entail? Are you an advice source of advice for people? Or?
So I'll get asked to comment, whether that's for magazines or for news or radio or whatever. So I'm asked to comment on things. I'm asked to speak. I write content. So the IOD do cyber training, and I've written a lot of the course content for them on that, as well as more general keynote and after dinner speaking and all of that kind of thing.
But if a member had a cybersecurity problem, would they come to you?
Well, they could do, yes.
Yes, okay. And also you were saying earlier that under the new GDPR rules that have come into being, that now businesses have to get trained in cyber.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So obviously GDPR became law on the 25th of May. And I think most businesses put all their effort into the data element of that, the marketing. Ironically, we all got spammed by people saying, please can I email you?
Yeah.
That was the first part of it. For you to, as a business, for you to be fined by the ICO, and it's the Information Commissioner's Officer that would fine you, two things have got to happen. Either there's been a data breach, and the data breach is, a cyber attack, or it's somebody's left their mobile phone, in a bar, or their laptop in a taxi or whatever, or someone's asked to be forgotten, and they don't like the way that they've handled that right to be forgotten. But I think it's far more than people give it credit for. So there was an organisation recently, the National Union of Head Teachers. They've just received a £50,000 fine because someone there sent out an email and they put all the distribution list in the CC field rather than the BCC field. Oh
my God. Oh dear.
And that got them a £50,000 fine. What's interesting is currently the stats say only 1 in 3 UK business has trained staff on cyber. But under GDPR it's an expectation. So if you have a breach and you have to report that breach to the ICO, And again, the law now says you have to do that within 72 hours.
ICO is the
Information Commissioner's Office.
Oh, okay.
So you have to report any breach within 72 hours, and then you have to fill out a form. I think it's question 4 is, when did the member of staff who was responsible for that breach last have cybersecurity training? And yet only a third of businesses are doing it. So it's, me with my ambassador hat on, I'm just speaking to people saying, you've got to do this. You've got to be training people. And then me with my Ramsack hat on is saying, well, I can do that training for you.
Ah, right. So I'm just coming on to that. Yes. Where do people get trained?
So training can be all sorts of things. So I do workshops, I do board briefings in terms of what are directors' responsibilities. You can do online training, so we've got a computer-based training program that we run so that people can do that at their own pace. In its simplest form, so at the end of last year I did a TEDx talk on...
Yes, I was coming on to that, yes.
Well, actually, if you got your staff in the boardroom and made them watch that TED talk and recorded the fact that people had watched that, that's a free of charge cyber training session. It's not everything, but it is a tick box to say at least you've started staff on the journey. The ICO don't expect businesses to be 100% compliant. And actually, when a business says that they're 100% GDPR compliant, my view is you can't. There isn't case law enough yet. We don't know how to interpret all elements of the law. But the ICO don't expect a business to be 100% compliant. But what they do expect is for all businesses are taking it seriously and they're working towards it and they're doing training and they're protecting their clients' data, which is what it boils down to.
And what would be your recommendation for a small business owner? Obviously a one-man band, where would they get training from?
So I would start watching my TED Talk, and there's lots of other cyber TED Talks available. That gives you a good grounding. And I think one of the bits of feedback that I often get is I assumed this was going to be about my business, and the realisation is this is about me and my everyday life, because we're all using laptops and mobile phones, and we're all at risk. We're constantly at risk. We heard in the news at the top of the hour about how the Russians were sat outside in a van trying to breach Wi-Fi. Well, that happens all the time. There's an international form of street graffiti where if people find that Wi-Fi is open, they just spray paint a squiggle on the wall or the pavement so that others can see that the Wi-Fi is open. And other crooks will just park up outside and make use of that. So it's
So what would be your advice on that then? Not to go on Wi-Fi, or to be very careful about it?
Well, don't go on Wi-Fi that you don't know and trust and can authenticate. If you're in a hotel, I would always ask the staff what's the name of the Wi-Fi, because you could take out your phone, you sat in the bar, and at the top of the list it's got hotel bar, and that may or not be the hotel. That could be a criminal.
Yes, of course.
Sat in the corner. So you just need to authenticate and make sure you know what you're doing, and then think about what you're doing on your phone or your computer when you're connected to that network.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming in and talking to us. I'm sorry we've run out of time. Would you like to give us your website details if people want to get more information? Also, presumably they could just Google your TED Talk.
Absolutely. So the TED Talk, if they Google Rob May and the human firewall, they'll find the TED Talk. And the website is ramsac.com, ramsac.com.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Rob May from Ramsac.
You're listening to Surrey Business Affairs on Brooklands Radio, for and about local businesses in Surrey.